you could do, which is a stupid thing to say when you're in a police yard with coppers beating the crap out of you. Say, is that the effing best you can do? Why I said it, I don't know. But that's when they took the Trunsons out and started beating me. One of them caught me in the eye, and my eyeball had later on learned to come away from the socket, and I thought I was going to go blind.
There were all kinds of emotions at that time, you know. Some of them, you felt as though you wanted to retaliate, but you know that that was not the answer. So you tried to be as calm as possible. Yeah. Because we weren't the ones that were under attack, it was young people.
My opinion was always that the looting, car burning, was misplaced anger, and that their anger would have been better directed against the establishment that put them in this situation. But it's difficult to talk to young people, especially when they're inflamed.
The lull after the battle, the calm after the storm, the deafening, awkward silence of our sombrous exhalation. The dust settles on rubble and crushed metal. Black brothers blamed for beef like blood rebels. Days of manic screams reduced to just echoes. Unsettled soil spoiled the plush ghetto. Questions in the aura on Princess Road. Inaudible questions, seemingly too quiet. Was it a race riot? Was it a youth riot? Was there much violence? Was anybody killed? Were barriers broken down, or just reinforced and rebuilt? Where did it all start? And who is to blame? Well, according to the police, they all look the same. Black with black skin, black bats on black nights. When statistics show that 60% arrested that night were in fact white.
After the riot, after that night, there was a little tension in the air for a few days because, you know, it was all quiet and we wondered whether it was going to start up again or anything. But to our amazement, it never did. It fizzled out that night.
We lived on pins for a couple of days, just waiting because nobody knew what the outcome was actually going to be.
There was a kind of almost disbelief of, we did it, we've shown them, and let's see what happens now.
There was very much an eerie sort of sense on each street, because you could go, you walk down each street and you can see that across to the other street and down the Ginnells and stuff. And it seemed sort of like, like this weird aftermath of like you could hear the wind or something like that. And like, I didn't quite understand where things were going to go after that.
I think there was a sense of, oh my God, almost what have we done? I remember one or two people saying, but this is our community, so why are we doing this? And I can remember saying at the time, it felt like a death in the family. You thought, oh, nothing will ever be the same again.
There was a general feeling that what had taken place was wrong. To actually cause damage to your own front door meant that you were going to have to live in the damage you'd caused. And so a lot of the senior members of the community, whilst they saw and understood a lot of the reasons why the riots had taken place, they were opposed to the physicality of the riot, the damage that was caused, the shops that were looted, the damage along Princess Road as it was then, not Princess Parkway, to trade. And the people that lost the livelihood were people who'd worked for many, many years to build these businesses up. And in the space of 2, 3, 4 nights, they'd lost everything.
everybody we knew, like the Orange Pit, like D. Warnock's, the wallpaper shop, all their windows were smashed, and there was our one shop stood there in the midst of all of this quite devastating scene, intact.
I don't think it was a case of non-black businesses that were targeted. During that period of time, there were very few black businesses. You know, there may have been 1 or 2 shops along Princess Road out of, you know, the 20 or 25. I don't think any youngster would have said, let's not hit this shop because that belongs to Mr. Brown as opposed to Mr. Smith's shop. They were taking anything that was in their path.
We often said to Dad, oh, is it because it's you that the shop didn't get burnt down? And he went, no, it was because I was there. You know, it's because I was stood outside and, you know, I was protecting my property, really. You know, and I think just people got, in fact, he actually said someone ran past going, yeah, right, Father B, like this, you know, as they were running down the road.
As far as we're concerned, they weren't our shops. These are people who had businesses in Moss Side, yeah, who, when you went in their shops, abused you. You know, you go into the jewellery store, it's what do you want? We were like, well, what you got a jewellery store here for? You know what I mean? We just come to look at some chains. You know, little chains that cost like £15, little thin little chain with a cross on it. You know what I mean? They were giving you abuse for that.
We were sad about the fact that it had come to that. But it was necessary for those young people to express themselves because they were going through hell. You know, and I mean, they were our children. And of course, whatever they felt, we felt for them as well.
It didn't achieve anything and wouldn't achieve anything. And in a sense, all it did was it added to this stereotype of Moss Side as the Badlands.
You could say it was damaging, yeah, because they punished us, because they did. But at the same time, it made them think twice about how they treated us, you know, and for the tactics wasn't that of physical and verbal abuse anymore.
The relationship between the police and the community was broken and needed a lot of work, and I think police policy became almost a policy of appeasement.
My view was that this was inevitable. This had to happen. And I was of the opinion that once the City Council and other bodies realised that the situation was so dire, it was inevitable that good must come out of this. Things must improve.
I also have talked to a lot of people in Moss Side, and they say that Moss Side has transformed. And the efforts of Greater Manchester Police to learn those lessons and to police in a very different way have been a big part of that. But I would have to say that in general, the relationships between policing and young people have always been difficult. I think it is just part of the territory, particularly when you've got young people that feel alienated, when you've got other parts of society that have a very negative view of young people, then often police officers themselves are caught in the middle.
It's very important that young people understand the conditions that gave rise to the struggles which we've had. So for them to position themselves now to deal with their situation presently and the sorts of challenges that they have, they must understand where we came from. What were the challenges we faced, people of my generation, in the 60s, 70s, and what was happening to young people in 1981, why there was that antagonism between young people and the state in its most visible arm, the police on the streets.
I don't believe you can live in the past, and you should live in the past. I think you can learn from the past. And I think what's happening, a lot of people who are engaged and involved with a whole range of things, whether it's with policing, education, are not prepared to learn from the past, not prepared to see what mistakes we've made, what successes we've had. And some of them are making even bigger mistakes than we made then. And I think that's a shame.
People have set up businesses, people have done all kinds of things that I don't think even they themselves thought that they could get in. I'm hearing people getting some fantastic jobs, and they don't know that it's off the back of some of you young people, because you are prepared to go out and say, this is not right, what's happening to us, let's do something.
I think that struggle is the word that young people need to take note of. In 81, young people had to struggle to be heard, and I think that there's coming a time when young people need to struggle to make their voices heard, but there are different ways of doing it.
30 years gone, 3 decades on, and are the new generation still singing the same song? Do the youth of today still feel the shockwaves of those few hot days where history got changed? When our fathers took to the streets, armed with courage and fought the police, did their pain go in vain? Or was Mosside's martyrdom just the start of a phase? The truth is that the struggle from then still remains. It's just in a different form, just in a different age.
I'm gonna say I don't think rioting will help this community. It will just again give Mosside a bad name. By protesting, that's a better action to take.
I ain't writing for nobody around here. I'm sorry, but I'm making way for myself.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Nobody,
for my family,
exactly, because we ain't no community no more. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we should riot. I think we just gotta stand up for ourselves. Let them know this ain't gonna happen. That we ain't gonna take it. Just by complaining, making sure that they know, making sure that they hear our voice.
I just want them to know that. Just feel like how we're feeling. Sometimes I wake up in the morning thinking I don't even want to be living. I'd be like, what's the point? What's the point? No point even coming out of my house, no point even going to work, no point doing nothing. It's just like, because every time I try to take a step forward, the system always changes, and then the first thing to do is try to bring another person down. And I feel like I'm the one that's going to get dragged down.
I think one word this community fails, and that's respect. I think that's a big word.
Actually, 2 words, you know. Is love and respect.
Yeah. I think without those two, we fail
them,
big.
I'm telling you
as a
right now,
community.
Mosside don't got no love.
We will fail.
And they don't got no respect for each other.
Yeah, and that's what they failed as.
That's
actually, they have failed on. Yeah, Mosside means a lot to me, because I've sort of grown up around there and seen a lot of negative vibes that I've not really enjoyed at all. That have left me, shocked to see. I mean, looking at now, a lot of things have changed, and it's a lot more positive now. But whereas then, it wasn't really a pleasant place to be. It wasn't a nice community. There was nothing there.
I know it used to be bad. I used to be bad with it, but now I seen it and I had to change. You know what I mean? And it's actually seen that Mosside is actually changing with me, so I'm actually liking it.
The bottom line is, it don't matter where you come from. Positive things come out of bad places, regardless of where it is and whatever is going on in the community. It's up to you to make what's good for you and what you think you want to achieve, regardless of where you live.
Hopefully our generation will be able to change or shape the future of Mosside, so we can start helping our youths and making sure that our community can stand again.
So tell me, where does Mosside resonate in your heart? And do you feel like your voice is even a part of the whole bigger picture of the city you live in? Do you feel like a victim or still like a villain? How likely do you think it is that there'll be a sequel? And is there a way to solve it by being peaceful? These are just thoughts in my mind that just pass through, but I don't have the answers. That's why I ask you.
Give it up for Chaps and the Birds and the Black Whip. Here we go. I have to come clean, I'm swinging hardcore. This is the jazz swing, so what you waiting for? I get drunk in a 12-bar blues. You know I won't stagger, so come on, bust a move. Scope the style, I'm swinging hypnotic. Some say I'm a section 5 psychotic. I like to wear my tries upon the jazz notes like Barack Obama. I swing the black boat. A similar style, a similar feel. One thing for sure, it's gotta have swing. Yeah. Learn the words, you might swing. This is talk about change, but never do they bring this closer to the point of reality. Why my people just rock with insanity? I say, who are they to judge that another man should have the freedom of choice in his own hands? Gripping, you're the groom of apartheid. You hold the hand, here's the silver, now kiss the bride. While we are free to use bits of paper paper to keep the freedom of choice alive. A child soldier somewhere in the world is forced to decide who's going to stay alive. Thatcher, I still load your names. So who you trying to fool with those poll tax aims? Aiming at the heart of the people. Tax to kill was your policy. Cameron ideology. Iron Lady, more draconian species. Riddled with rust and spattered with feces. As MPs slide down a slippery slope, they be living in capsules with shock-infested mold. They say apathy is the first cousin of evil. So let's use our votes to reject those who try to make